learn something interested. In this part, we will discuss about the challenges and responses in the Northeast India. So let's start. The 7 states in the northeastern part of India are together called Northeast or Seven Sisters. Assam, Manipur, Tripura, Mizoram, Meghalaya, Arunachal Pradesh, and Nagaland together comprise Northeast. However, at present, Sikkim is also considered a part of Northeast. This region, connected with mainland India by a narrow corridor of 56 km. This corridor is called Shiliguri Corridor or Chicken Neck Corridor. So now we find Northeast has 8 sisters states. This area shared international border with China, Bangladesh and Myanmar. Northeast is also regarded as India's gateway to Southeast Asian region. This area has as many as 160 tribes. They speak more than 400 different languages and dialects. Because of sharing international border, this region has a lot of geostrategic importance. Since 1947, this region has experienced a number of changes. Although these states are called Seven Sisters, now that means 8 sisters, were never a part of Assam like some states Manipur, Mizoram, and some other states like Meghalaya, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland were part of Assam. As the region came under British as late as in 1826, the region failed to benefit from British developmental policies. Although the region is rich in natural resources, many a time it has some problems within its territorial boundaries. It continues to be underdeveloped because of various reasons. As the region is far away from mainland India, it often complains of being neglected. Also, continuous migration has changed the demographic composition of the region. In this case, Assam, Tripura, Arunachal Pradesh have suffered a lot. This continuous migration has threatened the local cultures of the region. The geographical location, complex social character of the region, and economic backwardness gave rise to a number of demands in the region. Along international border and weak communication with other Indian states make the political situation in these states very complex. Different demands from the region place challenge in front of the government of India. Demand for independence, armed secessionist movement against illegal immigrants has kept the region volatile and disturbed since independence. Immediately after India's independence, demands for autonomy and independence came up in the region. Nagaland challenged nation building in independent India. Nagaland did not want to be a part of India. This issue will be uh, generally considered the first problem of the Northeast India, although there are several problems. After independence, those areas of Greater Assam which did not have Assamese people started movements for independence. In a multilingual and multi-tribe states, imposition of Assamese culture and language created a lot of anguish in tribal areas. Imposition of Assamese language through State Government Language Act created dissatisfaction to almost all the tribes, and as a result, many tribes wanted to get free from Assam and started movements to ensure this. These tribal leaders from the region, from Eastern Indian Tribal Union, to ascertain their demand. These leaders formed some parties like All Party Hill Leaders Conference in 1960. The party demanded a separate hill state. The tribal leaders of undivided Assam wanted the hill districts to be formed as a separate state. Gradually, the hill districts got separate statehoods. Central government made Meghalaya, Arunachal Pradesh and Mizoram separate states and upgraded Manipur and Tripura to separate statehood. Gradually, the states were formed in northeast region, but problems of the region were not solved. Demands for independence started in these newly formed states, especially in Assam. Such demands were visible. Almost all tribes of Assam have been demanding autonomy. Tribes like Bodo, Rabha, Karbi, Mising, Tiwa, Dimasa started pursuing the state government with different demands. The movements of these tribes are both demographic and systematic in their order. They felt like that. But one thing should be noticed, that the movements are more democratic and sometimes also violent. These movements have led to conflicts between the tribes of Assam and the Northeast. In Assam, the Bodos strengthened their movement for right to self-determination and self-rule. The Bodos formed All Bodo Students' Union in 1967 under the leadership of some leaders at that time. The people of that time, in cases of Bodo movement, became very strong. Around this time, some Bodo leaders launched an armed struggle to ensure independence for Bodos. They formed the Bodo Security Force on 3rd October 1986. On 25th November 1994, this group changed its name to National Democratic Front of Bodoland, NDFB's system, and aims was to establish a sovereign Bodo nation. Some other Bodo leaders formed Bodo Liberation Tigers Force, BLTF. On 20 January 1993, the Bodo Accord was signed, and accordingly, Bodoland Territorial Area District was formed. At present, there are three autonomous districts in Assam under the 6th schedule of the Constitution of India, like Bodoland Territorial Area District, Dima Hasao Autonomous Council, and Karbi Anglong Autonomous District Council. Apart from these, many other tribes are demanding the right to self-determination in Assam. Many tribes want to be launched in the previous movement, and they want to be included in 6th schedule of Indian Constitution. Under the Indian Constitution, different groups have been given the right to have autonomous administrative council, but some tribes have been demanding for sovereign, separate countries for themselves. Such demands have been threatening the unity and sovereignty of India. Since independence, such demands were seen in Northeast along with Nagaland and Mizoram. Such secessionist tendencies were noticed in Assam also. For example, in the Northeast secessionist movement, the movement was started by Nagas. In 1929, the Naga Club sent a memorandum to Simon Commission. In this memorandum, they demanded that Nagas should not be included in the constitutional reforms of British for India. During Second World War, Naga leader Fizo joined Subhash Chandra Bose Indian National Army, and fought against British. In 1946, Naga Club formed a political association called Naga National Council. Under its first leadership, they sent a memorandum to Cabinet Mission on 19 June 1946 for independence of Naga Hills. In 1950, the Naga National Council organized a plebiscite for Naga independence where 99% people voted for a sovereign Naga state. In 1951, under the leadership of Fizo, a section of Naga leaders demanded independence from the Indian state. In 1956, Fizo declared that Naga will form a separate nation with a separate constitution and army. Fizo did not agree to have talks with the Indian government. Under his leadership, the Naga National Council started an armed movement for the freedom of Nagas. Finally, on 11th November 1975, Naga National Council prepared Shillong Accord to solve the problem and Naga nationalism. Many Naga leaders were not happy with this accord. The agreement finally issued on 2nd February 1980, the National Socialist Council of Nagaland was formed, and this aimed group was this um, weapon group was formed under the leadership of the then SS Kaplang. On 30th April 1988, this group got divided into NSCN and NSCN Kaplang. NSCN Kaplan carries on an armed revolution for greater Nagalim. These two groups are now taking part in the peace process. Like Nagaland, armed secessionist movement was active in another state of northeast called Mizoram. When India got independence, Mizoram was an autonomous hill district of Assam. At that time, Mizoram was known as Lusai Hill. Some Mizo leaders felt that they were never part of British India. They are not going to be a part of independence India also. In 1959, bamboo flowers bloomed in Mizo hills, leading to a sharp increase in rats. This led to the destruction of agriculture and a terrible famine in Mizoram. This famine is also known as Mautam in the history of Mizo. The government of Assam failed to tackle this famine. As a response to this, Mizo National Famine Front was formed under the leadership of Laldenga. On 22nd October 1961, the Mizo National Famine Front was renamed as Mizo National Front, Mizoram for the Mizos. With that slogan, Mizo National Front started an armed rebellion for Mizoram's freedom. Mizo National Front got support from Pakistan. Almost for 2 decades, Mizo rebels and Indian Army fought against each other. Finally, on 30th June 1986, the exiled government of Mizo National Front and Indian government signed the Meso Peace Accord. According to this treaty signed between Laldenga and Rajiv Gandhi, Mizoram was made a separate state on 20th February 1987. Laldenga became the first chief minister of Mizoram. At present, Mizoram is a peaceful Indian state. That's all for today's class. We will discuss about the Assam and its various issues in the Northeast India in our next class. So আজকের জন্য ছুটি.